Start
This
the
conference will now be recorded.
Hi, Ron.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now we can. We got you now.
Awesome.
Great. All right. So calling the meeting to order 6:08 p.m. Okay. First item on the agenda is building permit fees. Okay, so there was a couple of things. We went over this, and this is to catch you up because you weren't here. So we went over we changed some of the some of the permit fees, which you probably saw the emails.
Yes.
We made them consistent.
Yeah.
Jeremy brought up a good point as far as demolition, breaking the costs for over 500 square feet versus under 500 square feet, because it seems, so, but we did miss a few things. One thing that we missed, which wasn't on here, but is something that's happening often, is storage containers. A lot of other villages are charging for having like a pod on your property. It's not really a question of getting that money. It's more having them kind of pay the fee so that there's a timeline attached to it and we can monitor it, because you don't want, 3 pods on someone's property for 2 years, So we were thinking I went over it with the building department, and we were thinking of just doing something minimal, like $25, just so that they get a, it's noted and we have a timeline on it, rather than sending code enforcement to go look and see pods and say, oh,
Sure.
there's people,
What about, if someone just has a pod that's there for 3 days, they're loading up and they move out, you don't want that. Is it just for a longer period of time? It's not like someone who has a pod for a day or two. It's someone who has it for an extended period of time.
I would think that if somebody has a pod there for, it's like that's like a U-Haul moving truck.
Right.
I mean,
that's usually a pod. It's just usually a day or two
no,
or
I
three.
mean,
But some people can leave it there for a month.
people,
You can, I
there
know.
are a lot of people who do building or do renovations, and they
Right.
put pods on their property
That I
as
get.
part of,
But someone moving in and out, you don't want it.
right. But if they're moving in and out, they're not going to come in and they're not going to get a building permit. So this is if you're getting a building permit,
Okay.
right? If you're getting a building permit, you're going to be you've got demolition, you've got gas connections, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And if you're putting stuff in a pod for a prolonged period of time, I think we should,
sense.
so I thought 25 would be a reasonable amount. And then the other thing that we didn't talk about was the renewal fees. So our current renewal fees are that at the end of the year, and I don't have them in front of me, the current ones, but if let me go by my memory. If at the end of the year you haven't finished for whatever reason, you need to pay double.
It's not at the end of the year. It's the end of 1 year.
At the end of 1 year. Well, at the
Yes.
end of your year.
Yep.
When you're up for renewal,
Your permit fees double.
Your permit fee becomes double.
Correct.
We are really one of the only villages that's doing that, and I don't think that that's super fair, especially given the fact that there are still supply chain. There's still supply chain issues. They're
minimal. It's not
minimal, but I think that if
you also don't want people, you got like the house next. You got houses in the village that are going on 3 and 4 years without being completed.
Here's the thing. Let's go with the average, not the one that's 3 and 4 years. Let's go with somebody's almost done, but they're waiting for their electrical cert, and they're like close. So this is what the building department proposed: a 2-month extension for $250, one time thing. So you've gone over. You can buy an extension for 2 months and finish up what you're doing. After that, a 6-month extension from the expiration date. So we're going back. So you're really only going to get 4 months more at 50% of the initial application fee. One time.
50% of the initial permit?
Right,
So
so-
you're just carrying the same amount. You're not any penalty for extending it. Then?
No, the idea is to give them 1 year extension from renewal date at 100% the application fee, and then a new application at current rate needs to be submitted after that. So you can build on it, but it always goes back to the expiration time frame. So if it's January and you buy 2 months and now you want another month, well, now you have to buy 6 months, but it always goes back to January. And same with,
But at the same rate, not at a 200% increase.
not at a 200% increase.
No increase. Does any other village charge any penalties, or do you just let them go on?
Well,
Is there a limit for how long you can extend your permit then? Because you don't want a situation where you're saying people are taking 2 years or 3 years to do something because they don't want their property taxes to raise on their deck or whatnot.
Most villages you can do it once.
Yeah.
For the same.
Yeah. And I'm thinking this is good because it gets us the 2 month extension. So if they're almost at the end of their job, they pay the 250. And then if they actually drag in more, they're going to get 6 months,
I get it.
but
No,
it's
I
only
get it.
for another
See,
4 months.
the deterrent was so that people would complete their projects, and then if you don't deter them, then there's no incentive to complete the permit, and then because they don't want to have their property taxes raised by Brookhaven or by Brooklyn, right? And that's typically the reason why you would want to extend your permit another year. It saves you on thousands of dollars worth of increase in taxes for Brookhaven, and subsequently Brooklyn a little bit.
What's our like, average cost is of the ball field, let's say if you want to
I mean,
They're a couple hundred to, right?
no.
It depends if you're building a house.
If you're building a
deck.
house, I mean,
Right.
it can be $10,000, $16,000.
So
If you're building a deck, it could be a couple hundred.
No, a deck is not a couple of $100.
Yeah.
is there a way to
This is
like
our deck.
balance both
You did
points?
your deck.
So
Your deck's small. Huh?
is there a way to balance both? So what John's saying, you don't want people dragging out purposefully for tax purposes. So at the end of number 3, where we have the 1 year extension, if it exceeds that, then you drop a penalty.
I'm okay with that. I think that personally, I think a 2 month extension as a courtesy because we're all neighbors is nice.
Yep.
And it's
That's fine.
not,
I have no problem
it's
with
not,
that. You just don't want the 2 months to go into 2 or 3 years.
so the 2 month, I'm good with that. You're saying a 1 year extension at 125% the initial fee.
I mean, I'm fine with the 100. I'm fine with it sounds like from also what Joe's saying that most villages have a one-time, 1 year renewal at cost, right? So at the same cost without increasing.
What
So
happens
if somebody exceeds that year,
yeah, what happens if they exceed that year in most villages?
then can we double?
Do they have
If you
penalties?
exceed it, then can you start applying penalties to it?
No, normally it would be done. You'd have to get a whole new permit.
Yeah.
You'd have to get a whole new permit. So the significance of that is that the law might change in these months. There's an incentive to try to get it done within whatever the renewal period is, because something that you're doing might be outlawed or changed or something. So
Those laws don't change too often. That's really not an
So-
incentive
so-
for somebody to
so-
know just
Wait, no,
let me do it
it's
again,
not
and I'll go my
necessarily-
3rd year then.
Maybe not laws, but what about like building code?
Yeah.
They don't change.
no, but you have
Oh.
to submit a brand new survey. You have to submit a so you get those. If you go through the extension or the renewal and you don't complete it, then you need a whole new package.
Yeah, that was what was presented as what's going on.
So it's a little bit of an inconvenience for the homeowner, but if they still, it's well worth spending $1,500 on a survey than getting $5,000 in property tax.
If it's 1,500, but these people
For a survey, I'm saying if you got to go through the packet again, go through the pin and neck of the packet,
But he's saying
but you're
that
saving
he's
on
saying
another whole year, 2 years of
well, it
property
depends.
taxes.
I mean, because if you think about it, property taxes. I mean, if I'm doing a build and my building permit's $18,000, what am I saving in taxes? What am I saving if my building permit is?
I get, yeah,
is,
but
is,
most of the time, the building permit fees are much less than the property tax is going to increase.
So most people are building like not for a hobby or to avoid tax. Most people are building either because they need a place to live or because they're flipping. They're speculating. So those people are not going to prolong it. If you're building a house for a place to live, first of all, they should not. The main thing is that we make sure that nobody lives in a house that doesn't have a C of O. It means that the work is done and signed off. So whatever the tax situation is, nobody should live in a house unless they have a C of O. The other thing is that if they're building it as a contractor for somebody else or to sell, speculate, they're not going to want it sitting around. They want
No.
No, I get it, but I'm saying it seems like there's a lot of homes in Pocahontas that have not been completed. It's more than one
But I
that
guess
go
what,
on for
but
an
what
extended period
But
of
what
time.
Joe's saying is people should be living there. That's what
Oh,
I'm saying.
they should get a real big violation, 11 by 17. Yellow
That's
paper.
kind of a separate.
But that goes into a whole different, I mean, we don't have violations as part of our,
I can think of
building.
so many homes that have not been
If
done within a
somebody's,
year.
if somebody's in, but think about, but think about how many homes have been turned over here. I mean, how many are not done, really?
I can name quite a few. I mean, that have been going on, and just in this area, I can name 3 that have been going on for more than a year.
So it's in our code that you can't live in a house without a C of O.
Right.
Not that they're living. I'm just saying they're being built, or they're taking an extraordinary long time. I mean, I can look at 3 homes right here that have been going on for over 18 months to 4 years.
They stop and they have to submit a whole brand new application. They can't just come in and write a check. They have to submit a new survey and everything.
Permit fees.
Yeah,
A new
plus
permit
the
fees.
So it's redoing.
But it's not new permit. It'd be the same amount. There's no. I mean,
No,
it's
it
just-
wouldn't, because if we raise our fees that year, it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, I,
Plus the work's supposed to. I'm sorry, excuse me. The work is supposed to stop. So if you go over, like say whatever we come up with, say you pay a year to get 18 months, right, under what the mayor said, and now you're like 18 months and 1 week. You have to stop. You can't like finish as fast as you can. You can't do anything because you don't have a building permit.
it's no longer valid,
Yeah, so that's a.
and that becomes penalties
What
too.
happens now? That's what happens now.
Yeah.
So they just pay a double fee the second year, and then what happens the third year, right?
Well, the third year, we don't have, for, the third year would be,
We have homes that are going more than 3 years without being completed. That's what I'm saying. What is happening now?
I'm not clear on your question. What's happening now with homes?
That
They're
have
getting,
taken more than 2
yes,
years.
they're renewing their permits. They're getting a new permit at double the cost.
Double. So say the permit fee was $1,000 the first year. Second year it's 2,000. The third year it's 4,000, or the third year it's 2,000 again.
I don't know that, I don't know.
Who knows the answer to
Truthfully.
that question?
Yeah.
Because there are homes that are going the third
I'll
plus
talk to
year.
her if I know. I'll get the answer for her.
So, I mean, do we have any thoughts on this?
I mean,
I'd like to deter people going 3 and 4 years without having a completed house in this village. Just have construction going on for a long time, and doing it this way, I'm not sure it solves it. Well, it's not solving it now when we're doubling it. I don't know if we're quadrupling it after the third year.
I would never. You want. I think we want this place to be a place that you want to live and you want to improve your home.
But you
You
want a
also
place where you
don't.
don't want construction going on for 3 and 4 and 5 years next to your house. That's really a nuisance to your. If you're the neighbor and there's construction and cranes and mud going on for years and years and years, I wouldn't want that. I think we owe a responsibility to try to move it along.
I guess a point of question. So I like this the 1 year. I think that's reasonable because I think that if you get past that 1 year point, the 1 year after, right? So 2 years in the project, I think that takes care of the majority of issues, right? I think you're going to have outliers, right? I agree.
We
And
have quite a few outliers
I think
right now,
we
but
need
yeah.
something separate to discuss. And I,
So then-
question
so
about
then-
that. But
so
I'm
then-
okay with this portion of it. I think if you have people exceeding 2 years on a residential construction project, it's a different issue. Maybe this is for Joe. What can a village? Is there anything a village can legally do if somebody has a project going on for say 5 years? If they're coming in, do you have to then write law to prevent them from renewing, or can somebody just renew their permit every year? Is there any
Well, you get,
statute that would?
I forget what our code, I think our code is one renewal.
Okay.
And then, as what I said before, the work is supposed to stop.
But say, sorry.
No, it's okay, you have to file a new application.
But is there anything that would eventually, I think to John's point, is there anything that would eventually force the completion of a project? Is there any way to like enforce the finalization of the project?
So in the renewal, in the new application, if you have to go into the new application, you could put a condition in there that all work must be completed in 6 months or something. You know, something,
Okay.
you could put a condition in that.
Where you start assessing fines, daily
Yeah,
fines or
fines,
something
right,
for every
yeah.
day past completion after that.
Yeah. And
Because I
then,
mean, getting into it, to your point, getting into a post 2 year residential project seems.
We got several.
I know, but I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying I think that seems excessive, and it should be addressed. I mean, unless there is a legitimate reason
Sure.
for it. But I think if it's a delay tactic or it's somebody, is trying to avoid something, I think that has to be addressed separately. But I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this first three. This proposal for the 261 extension at the rates you have here, because I think it is an olive branch to a degree on the first one, because people do tend to run over, and I think that's okay.
Almost all of them run over.
And I think if you're extending for having to extend for another 6 months and then a year,
because
I mean,
you got to
it's
remember
a
it's
lot of
always going back
time.
to the original date.
Yeah,
So there is a penalty built in, right? Because you get the 6 month, you get the 2 month extension, you pay $250, right? So let's say your thing is $1,000, you pay $250, right? Now you want a 6 month extension from expiration date, so you're really going to now spend more money to get you're buying another 4 months, right?
What are you paying 50%?
You're paying 50% of the initial application fee. So there is a little bit of a motivator. It's a small motivator.
$250.
But
that's that 2 month kind of grace period.
It's like the 250s. Yeah. The 250. I think we should definitely. I think giving people a grace period. We're not. I mean, we're not the Gestapo. We're not. I mean, it's just somebody runs over. I would be upset if I didn't get my electrical certification. Imagine I don't have my electrical certification. We've had situations in the village where someone's electrician died. They had to find a new electrician. They're going to pay $32,000 because they didn't get an electrical cert in a month.
No, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I'm just thinking we have a couple of outliers.
I think
if we're revising the law, you might as well try to put a stop to it.
I think to Joe's point, though, or the suggestion, maybe that's what it was, to incorporate penalties after it's reached whatever we decide the cutoff date is, right? If it's like 2 years and somebody's still on a project and they come in and reapply for a permit.
Why don't we do this? Because this a 1 year, give them up to 1 year. Do the 250, do the 50%, do the 100%, because there is a certain level of penalty built into that, correct?
Agreed.
And then a new application at current rates. Let's change that. Let's make that one the one where can we do that, Joe?
Yes.
So let's make a new after 1 year.
Can you then add a required finish date with penalties to be assessed if it's not completed by for that after the 2 years?
Yeah, or on the third year when they renew.
So yeah, that's for that third
understand.
year.
Or on the third year,
but also understand
that
we have a certain amount of revenue that comes in off of permits. So while you might not like your neighbor's deck not being finished, your neighbor's deck not being finished is helping offset your taxes because we have little. Do you know what I mean? So there's like there's a balance there that we have to kind of consider. So I would rather let them take. Let's just assume, okay, you got a year, and for whatever reason, we're going to let you buy in total another year.
At current rates, so that will impact our budget because we do count on the 200%. So now we're going to have to reduce our budget a little bit.
I'm thinking a new app, but it doesn't happen often. It really doesn't happen often. No, I mean, you're saying there's 3.
No, but they said most of the homes go past a year. Most of them charge them cheap.
Well, most of the homes go past a year, but if somebody comes in and says, if somebody comes into the building department and says, my electrician died and I'm getting a new one, I don't have my electrical
We just
certification.
like that.
What do you think the village does? I mean, in all
Okay.
fairness,
All
they
right.
say,
So we
okay,
don't do
we
the
will
200%.
grant you an extension and we don't get the 250. We don't get anything. We just grant them the extension,
Gotcha.
right? Because, I mean,
Sure. No, okay.
circumstances,
Yeah, so
right?
we don't
But
enforce
I
the
think
200%
maybe
too often.
where we can add the penalty would be once the 1 year is out. Don't let them renew at the
Current rates.
current
Just
rate.
double it.
Double it or 150% higher than,
Definitely.
and they have to submit new papers.
Definitely. Yeah.
Does that
on
seem
the third year?
after we give them a whole year, the next
Extension. So it's a third year.
So it's not, so I had $250 for 2 months and then 50% for 6 months.
250 for 2 months, 56 months. We're talking about extensions for building permits.
Oh.
So the idea is your year's over.
Oh, you want number one?
Yeah, we're up to number 1.
Yeah, we're up to number 1.
We went going backwards.
You're at
68, right?
you're at 250. You get an extension of you go over. You get a 2-month grace for 250. Period. $250 so that you can finish your project. If you exceed that, you have to get a 6-month extension, but it dates back to the original expiration date. So you're really buying another 4 months, but it's at 50% the rate. So
Of the original building.
Of the original.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you exceed that, you have to get a 1-year extension at 100%. So if you have 3 months left, you have to pay the full boat because you didn't get it done in the 2 and 6 month option.
The original permit is 1 year or 2 years?
1 year.
1 year.
And then the question is to motivate them to close out the permit. So right now we were doubling it out of the gate.
Yes, I know that.
But we're
Nobody's paying it,
we're one of
Well,
the.
I paid it.
Well, you paid double for your building permit.
I believe so.
No.
But again, that I followed the rules.
Yeah.
I also put a drain in my driveway. Nobody else does, so.
The question is, what do we do at the end of the 1 year?
Then you guys, we're not going on the third year, so I'm saying we're at least 200%.
No, you have to. Well, the first thing is you have to submit a new application.
The new application
And 2 years.
Well, you've reached the 2-year mark. You have to do a new application.
Maybe you should at least double them.
And at that point we can. So then at that point, I think I'm okay with doubling it at that point.
It takes somebody 4 years to build a house here.
Yeah. So let's do the doubling at the end of
The 2 years instead of the end of the 1 year.
Right. And build fees in along the way. So if you need, because the thing is, if you're at the end of your thing and you know you're not going to be done in 2 months, you can just jump right to the 6-month extension, or you could jump right to the 1-year extension. But if you're going to eke it out, then there's a little penalty. But I think
how far around in the project.
Right. Let's do the new application at 200.
I understand the first penalty of the 250 for the 2 months. What's the next penalty of 6 months?
Well, it's not really a penalty, but you're actually paying more because if I say I'm going to finish in 2 months, because it's $1,000, I gave you $250, right? Now, I didn't finish,
right.
So I already paid $250. Now I have to take a 6 month at $500. So now I'm in it for $750, but it's $750,
right.
But it's only 6 months.
I get it.
So I'm almost up to my.
But you paid the penalty on the 2 months. There's no penalty on 6 months. There's no penalty on the year. It's just the 2 months.
No, the penalty is in the fact that the expiration date doesn't. It's not a new expiration date. The expiration date goes back to the original.
Right, but there's no penalty because the normal fee for 6 months would have been $500. So
now it's become $6.
So the only penalty is for the 2 months. There's no penalty at 6 months. There's no penalty
the
in a year.
penalty's right here because it's if it was $1,000, I paid $250.
Right, but I'm saying you're only paying the penalty on the 2 months, the $250. If you would have normally went to 6 months, you would have paid the $500 anyway. If you go the extra year, you still pay the other 1,000. There's no penalty except for that 1-2 month
No,
period.
it was 1,000. So say your original fee was 1,000. At the 1 year mark, you now paid 2,000.
No.
Right?
No.
You paid another 1,000.
She's saying another 1,000. I said
You
there's no
paid-
penalty except for 2
You
months.
paid
not
another
if I just was buying time. Not if I'm buying time. Not if I say I need 2 more months and I take the 250, and then I go, you know what? I need 2 more months. Well, you can't have 2 more months. Now you have to have 6 months,
Which is the 500.
which is the 500.
And then if you pass that and you
But
say
if
I gotta go
if I
3
took
more months.
but if I took the 6 month out of the gate, I would only be
So now you
paying
get to the 1
500.
year.
Correct.
Now
That's
it's
what I'm
another.
saying. I
Now
get
if
it.
you get
So
to
whatever,
1
if
year,
you go-
it's 2,000.
Right, and if you go 9 more months, and I got to go 3 more months, and I'm going to finish my project in total of 21 months, so the year plus the 9 months, what are you paying? Just another
The year
$500?
plus the 9 months. No, because we're ending it 1 year from the expiration date. So if you expired in 2013, the furthest you're going to get is 1 year. Am I?
So
But you're
no.
going to get 1
So-
year. But I'm sorry, but you're going to get fees along the way. You're saying so. It's $1,000 for your permit, right? As of,
I'm giving
you
them
buy it July of 2023.
right.
Okay? And
You
in July
expired.
of 2024, it's expired.
You say I want
Now
2
you
more
want
months.
2 more months.
You
So
pay
in
250.
9 of 24, it's 250 to that.
And then you pass in like I need
And then if
6
you need
months.
6 months, now you're going 6 months to this. So this is now 1 of 25. You
Right.
paid 500.
And you're paying 500.
And then in July of 25, you're paying another.
No, let's say I
1,000.
got to go to March now. I need 3 more months.
No,
I
we're
gotta
not
go
doing
9
that.
more
You're
months.
not.
6
You're not.
months and then
It's
it's a year.
6
Or
months
give me
and then
another.
it's a
So
year.
if I got to go another year, what am I paying? Another $500?
Now you're paying another. No, now you
Once
pay
you
the
cross
1,000.
over the 6 month mark, you're paying the full pump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another 1,000.
Yes.
You're paying the full permit fee. It's
Right,
the-
which is
Then
1,000.
there's no penalties.
There's no penalty. It's
The
another
portion of
1,000
the other
for another
500.
year.
You're paying the other 500. You're paying 1,000 on top of the 500.
the penalty exists
So
if
you're-
you
you- but
keep
you're-
buying time.
Tell me, I'm not
Why,
So
understanding.
maybe
why
I'm
are we
not
changing the
understanding.
rule
Hold on,
that we have
Kenny,
anyway?
hold on. So if let's use the $1,000, right? So if you have a permit the last year, it's $1,000, right? Right now, renew that permit. You're saying it's supposed to be double, right?
2,000.
So 2,000, but then you have an entire another year, right? So in that same time frame, so we're reducing it down basically is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
now we're
We're
saying
cutting in half.
Yeah,
we're not cutting it in half. We're cutting it 25% because you have the $1,000. If you extend it 2 years, right? If you extend the project 2 years, you're extending it. You're cutting it 25% because now
The
you're going to
total
be
project, but you
less than
yeah.
less than 25%. Because you're going to have the $1,000 after you cross 6 months. You're going to have the 500 for the up to 6 months plus the 250 for the 2. So it's going to be you'd be getting assessed 1,750 out of the possible potential 2,000.
And what
right?
happens if you go past the 6 months and you want to go to the full year to do it the full extent?
So now
You've already
Another
paid.
1,000.
So now
Wait,
you're
wait,
at
say that again?
1,000. The full permit fee. So now you're paying. So now
No
your
penalty.
original permit was 1,000,
That's what I'm saying.
You
right?
paid 500.
He's right. There's no penalty. My
So
question is
what
why
am I
we
saying?
changing
Do you
it?
pay
Why
another
we
500?
changing it? Because right now it's double. So I'm gonna say I got my permit a year later. I had to pay double.
Because it's
So why is
because
She's trying to correct that.
residents
She's trying to say
residents are
it's not-
complaining that it's
It's not
causing a
enough time.
hardship
Okay.
and it's not
It
enough
does.
time.
I agree.
So she's
And
trying to say
I
2
think
months is
I
like
think
a nice
we have
buffer.
to find a way to let them. And what we're doing is because they come in and they're like, example, true story, someone's electrician died and that's all they needed left. So were we going to really charge them $32,000 because they needed an extra couple of months to get this final
No,
electric?
but I
No, we
know
gave,
that you didn't do that.
we didn't. We
Right.
give them an extension, but in this case, so we made no money. But in this case, we're making money right out of the gate. There's no extensions. There's no, okay, get it when you get it. We'll give you a couple of weeks. We'll give you 6 weeks. Pay the money. So then there's something right there. And I don't think it's fair to do double. And we're like one of the only villages that does it. I couldn't
what
find
happens-
any
so what
villages
are you
that
doing? Is
do
it
it.
like a percentage? Is that what you do? 25%, 50%?
No.
50% is yes. There's a 50%
What happens if it's
at
way your
6
permit's
months.
less than that? Then less than.
Then you can pay your permit. If your permit is a $200 thing, you just get it another year. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what you would do.
So I agree with you. I still don't understand the answer to the question. All right. So if you go 2 months, you pay a $250 penalty. And then you need a couple more some more time, you're gonna go to 6 months, you pay the extra $500 on a $1,000 permit. Now what happens if I need to extend it for the full year?
Pay another $1,000.
Pay
But you-
another
because
Another
you're based
1,000 or
on-
another
on
500?
percentages,
No,
not
another
based on
1,000.
250, because
The full
there's no
permit.
permit $1,000 to build a house in this village.
No.
Or just,
So
you're
this is
No, it could be a deck, it could be a
$5,000,
deck,
Anything.
it could be a
$10,000.
deck.
So
Whatever.
it has to be percentages. It can't be 2 months is 250.
No, I know,
No,
it's
it-
percentages,
it-
but I'm
it-
just
Oh,
understanding
oh,
what,
okay, oh,
if
okay.
your
Oh.
permit is
She
$1,000,
did say that.
Well, that's
make like it's
that's
$1,000
the-
permit for a deck.
The 2 month. It's really a 6 month and a
Can
1 year
Can we
extension.
be excused for?
Yeah, you could.
We'll come back at about 7:30.
No, all right, so,
It's a scaled 6 month. It's a percentage 6 month and 1 year extension. Is basically what it is. She's including a 2 month, one time $250 extension to
Yeah.
help people who are slightly going over their
Okay.
time.
who
It's
have an
like-
extenuating
No matter what,
circumstance.
Yeah, so
Prices.
right now,
So-
we're not collecting that money, she's saying, because we're affording people if they're having extending.
So we're giving them, we
circumstance.
don't want to take $32,000 from somebody who just spent
No, I don't blame you.
16,000, right? So we're not going to do that. So what we're going to do is say, okay, you can have an
Don't worry about
extension. And then we're not making anything.
Right.
So, I mean, I think, and I don't, we can circle back if we want to really, I think giving them the 2 month extension, I feel strongly about that. 6 month, 50%, you want to make it 70%, you want to do 1 year at 120%. I think it has to be
Well, my
something.
thing is this, is that if you're close to being done, it should take you less than 3 months. So do we say it's 3 months extension, this is the price, and after that, you go to a year?
Okay, I don't mind that.
That's simple, I'm getting confused. If it's
Yeah,
250,
I
6
think,
months,
I
and then a
actually
year.
think that's a good idea. Let's
But you're actually then charging less money if you do that, unless you raise the
No, then
percentage,
do. But as Joe was saying, other villages let you just get an extra year at the same rate.
I understand that, but what you are proposing here, right here, if you take out the 6 month and you say after 3 months you have to jump to the 1 year, unless you then change that year back to a 200% increase.
No, make it
No, make it
100,
100%.
make it 100 and make it 100%, because now if they
You
only,
got the
or make it
250?
125%.
But
I just think 200% is
A lot.
too
But
much.
I'm saying, but
I think
I'm
that
saying then by taking out the 6 month, you are then we're saying that it's not enough, but taking out the 6 month is taking out less because you have compounding. If I'm understanding this, you have compounding
Yes.
fees, right? So
Right.
if you take out the $500 or 50% fee in the middle, $500 on a $1,000 permit, you're losing that fee, right? So base numbers, if you have a permit for 1 year, it's $1,000. Just for an example, you have to renew that. We're saying most villages do not charge. It's 100% the initial fee, right?
Mhm.
So now to renew another year, you're all in $2,000, right?
Mhm.
For 2 years. This right how you have it now
You
for
did
2
that.
years, you would be $2,750,
You-
right?
Yes,
If you,
we know we're losing money, we're saying that that's.
but he's
for the
saying,
residents.
but he's saying that you're building
But
in.
he's saying we don't. I think there's two different things because I think John is saying that there should be a penalty. There should be
Motivator.
some kind of motivator
Yeah,
to be able to complete.
So
it.
let's make it a 3 month extension for
250.
250. I think that's too low. I think,
Oh, that's
Okay,
what,
it
that's
should-
500, whatever you wanna make it, and
Yeah,
then,
if it's a
and then my
$16,000
thing is that
permit,
if
nobody cares
after
about
3 months,
$250.
you're no longer just asking for extension.
Make it a-
to
make
finish
it a-
things up.
make
You're
it a
actually
3
asking
month
for
per-
more building time.
let's make it a 3 month extension for 500, right?
And then after that, it's it, you gotta go the whole
So
year.
there's so many
Sounds
different
like a
permits.
point.
You could have a deck permit for $1,000. You can have a new home built permit for $16,000. So the flat fee doesn't cut it. It's gotta
I think
be
the
100%.
flat fee to give somebody an
Just the
extension to
extension
finish
for the
their
3 months.
home
Listen,
is fine.
I have to
Which
say,
was
the
like
building,
$250 for
and it does,
A fence.
there's things
$250
that
for a
happen,
building.
if the winter comes, the
It's,
weather.
yeah, I think you're giving,
Sometimes you just need a few months to be like,
yeah,
okay,
just
when
give
you
it
finish
to
this,
them for
please,
500 or whatever, and then right after that, if you want, go straight to
do it.
a 1 year extension. They're forced into it, and you can do it at 100. You could do it. I don't care if we make it 125 to motivate them, but I don't think it can be
125%.
200. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do a 3 month at 500, right? And then do a 1 year at 125%,
Pencil.
right? That's it. And then delete the 6 month. They don't have the 6
They
Yeah,
don't
no,
month.
have
the 6 months.
It's
All
3
right.
months to finish up your project and you're going back.
Oh my goodness. All right. Are we all in agreement on this?
I'm gonna just mention one thing. So if
Oh
they,
no.
if they don't, they have to apply for an extension at least 30 days before it expires.
Okay.
And if they don't do that, there's a penalty of $100 or something.
Okay. Application
Or extension.
for extension
At least 30 days.
at least
30 days prior to
30 days
permit expiration date.
prior to 30 or 15.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the same thing?
No, I'm just thinking sometime my permit is expiring.
Oh.
Make it 15.
Make it 15 days prior to expiration. Because
40
somebody
minutes,
might
number
be
one.
thinking they're getting something and they may not. They may be pushing right to the very edge.
And then what, it's $100?
It's just, this is between people and their builders, really. This is like what there should be negotiating with the builder. Like, if you don't finish by a certain date, you're responsible. I'll pay the first fee, but if you don't finish by a certain date.
And some people do that, have that in their a lot of people have that in their contract, which is fine, but we have to have they should have this, but we didn't have anything, and doubling it was too much. Okay, so we're good. Woo! All right.
One
All right.
down, 10 to go.
All right. All right. Let's. Here's here. I'm gonna plow through this one. So village policy review.
The web chat.
We all got policies.
Did everybody submit it? I didn't get anybody.
I didn't submit it I took everybody's, whoever submitted them. I have them here. All right, come on, guys. All right, so village policy review. Everybody got a policy to review?
Yep.
I went over the code pay policy. I made edits, but I sent it over to Frank because it was I needed his input. So he's got that. So then I picked up policy on issuance of keys. I can circulate it, but my very minor changes, my changes are simply that we are saying residents that and village require that all residents and village officials, I don't think any resident should have a key unless they are either a village official, an employee, or a contractor, like a cleaning person. Yeah. So I took residents out, and then keys are to be surrendered to the village clerk at the time that their official business is concluded. I think we have to put a time on it, within 5 business days of the conclusion of their official business. And if they don't surrender the keys, they get a fine. It used to be 25. I want to make it 100. Sure. So that's my. Those are, if everyone's on board, that one's done. John had credit card. You want to review credit card, what you went through?
Sure. Just a couple minor things. In the first paragraph, it says the mayor, on the third sentence, the mayor shall be responsible for developing regulations. I thought it should be the board of trustees. It's not the mayor.
Yes.
Okay. In the regulations paragraph, at the end where it says the last sentence, it says liability for use of these. That word is incorrect to me. It should be fraud or abuse.
Okay.
Right? It's not liability. It's the fraud or abuse.
Yeah.
The on the use for expenses, almost towards the bottom, prior to the last sentence, where it says the cardholder shall be responsible for making payments to the village clerk. This whole thing didn't make sense to me.
That's because to the cardholders, we're making payments to the victim for all charges incurred, regardless of when or if reimbursement is received from the village.
What does that mean? Very few people, but I'm saying some people may, go to Home Depot. It could be our handyman. It could be a clerk. It could be a trustee.
Well, because that's speaking to this, personal charges are permitted in a mixed-use setting. Hotel charges for an in-room movie, etc. However, these charges are to be deducted from the claims. The cardholder shall be responsible for making payments to the village for all charges incurred, regardless of whether reimbursement is received from the village.
That's not true. The cardholder is not responsible for all charges. It's only the ones that they make personally. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense.
Only
That sentence.
personal charges.
Okay,
Right.
so fix
Right.
that. So the cardholder should be responsible for making payments to the village clerk for all
personal
personal.
charges.
But doesn't it say that the prior sentence?
No, it's saying that it's permitted.
So
Personal.
So it's saying that you can use a mixed use card, but you have to.
Be responsible for your personal
No,
portion of it.
No, I don't think so. I
Yes.
think it's
We
all.
really
Yes,
shouldn't
it
have mixed use.
I don't think we
I
should
don't
have a
think
mixed
so. I
use
think
But
card.
like, so if you go to a hotel and you charge a personal movie, the village is
You shouldn't
responsible for it.
charge.
No. You can't.
Well, you can't tell somebody that they're going to go to a hotel room, they can't watch a movie. If you,
Yeah, they can pull out their
Not
own
on the
credit
village
card.
But sometimes a hotel won't do 2 credit cards on one
You
bill.
can't watch it. You watch it on your laptop.
Yeah.
But the other thing
No, I
is
think that's way confusing for
you can't buy
bookkeeping.
alcohol.
Yeah, no, I think that there shouldn't be mixed use using, first of all, we're a small village, we have one credit card. So I don't think that it
Traveling.
should be, and
No,
who's
no.
traveling? I don't think that you should be able, I think we should nix that, I think we should nix that whole
But this
section.
is credit. It's not only the village credit card; it's credit card policy. So if I'm charging something on my own credit card, the
Then you're
statement,
submitting for a reimbursement.
right?
No, it's a policy for village credit cards.
So change this to village credit
Yeah,
card.
because this is a credit card policy. It's not a village credit card policy.
And
You
eliminate-
put it on your personal card
There's
and
no
ask for
mixed
reimbursement.
use. It should, personal cards are not permitted in a mixed use setting, period, and then all of this goes away,
Then that
right?
makes sense. That's good. And then the last one, just to change the language on the very end of the sales tax, where it says what? Any sales tax charged for a purchase will become the responsibility of the cardholder. It shouldn't be, because there shouldn't be any sales tax charged.
Yeah,
So I wrote the verbiage should be cardholder should advise vendor that sales tax should not be charged to the village.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it,
You can't obligate, that's very
So we used to do
difficult.
that in the hospital when people would buy things and we would take the sales tax off because we were like, if you wanted to go to Staples and buy something, we don't pay sales tax. So because you weren't patient enough to wait the 4 days, right, for
Yeah.
Staples to get here, then now we're not going to reimburse you for sales tax.
I completely agree with that, but we have, and this is something that I'm working on with the clerks, we don't have an actual sales tax exemption number.
No.
We have a letter from 1996 that we have to present, right?
We used to do that. I had that in someone else I worked with.
Really?
But I'm in a 2-year battle with the web hosting company to try to get that resolved. So it's not that easy when you give them that letter. If you give that letter to a hotel, they don't know what to do with it. But no one's going to a hotel. So.
Fair enough.
I think
Fair
we
enough.
should say cardholders should advise vendors that sales tax should not be charged to
And
the
don't put in there
village.
anything about who's paying for it.
No, leave
Write
it
out
alone.
one at a time.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so
All right, so
that's
we're good.
great. That one's good. Jeremy, did you get to look at a policy?
Yeah, I did. I looked at the computer repurposing and decommissioning policy, and for the most part, I thought it was okay. I just had a couple, I guess, an edit, just under policy, section 1, letter B. I think it was maybe just a typo, unless I'm not familiar with the technical language. It says all storage media must be made permanently unusable. I don't know if it's supposed to be storage mediums or storage media. I'm not sure
Media.
how is that supposed to be media?
I think
So
it's
just,
media.
it says medial, so it's just
A typo.
just a typo. The other maybe suggestion when we were looking at definitions, potentially adding, what were the 2 terms that I was looking at? Viable and obsolete, maybe, to the definitions of the policy, to classify the equipment that's going to be decommissioned. See if to term it's for either repurposing, recycling, giving to a school or something, or if it's just obsolete, needs to be discarded.
Okay, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take a look at it.
All right,
Okay.
so we'll add that.
And then the last thing was, I don't necessarily know I don't know if it's falls into this portion of it, but do we have a policy for the decommissioning? I mean, do we outsource it?
Yes.
Or do we just, is that covered in, because I don't know.
Don't we have a decommissioning policy, don't we?
Or do we outsource it to a third party, or
I
is it
assume-
done
I
in-house?
assume
So
what's his
it's not-
name does it.
It's done by, I'm sorry, so it's done by state law and policy of the Office of the Comptroller, so generally, all of our equipment,
Okay,
is, if it's determined, the term is not necessary or not usable for a municipal purpose, no longer usable for, municipal purposes, and at that point, it's considered what is called surplus,
okay.
meaning you can get rid of it, and then you determine the way to get rid of it. If it has no value, you can dispose of it, or you can, like we did for the Jeep, request proposals.
So
But do we need like, for technology, is it something that we can handle ourselves, making it unusable or removing data
I don't.
or secure data, or does somebody?
I think we have somebody wipe it. I think we did.
Yeah, we do, we have access.
Yeah.
We have acts that does.
So
So
should
is that also apply, because the terminology in here also, I assume by, or interpreted that it also means that applies to personal devices that are containing sensitive data on it. So does that mean that we need to have like a third party verify, like wipe data from our personal devices when we're no longer using them, or we're changing devices over and changing over email? Does it need to be that technical, or can we just like hit reset on our phone?
We should just say that there shouldn't be any personal data, there shouldn't be any sensitive data.
But we have email, right? So are we not supposed to be,
but the email.
is that considered?
So that's a good point. So I'm
I'm
going
gonna have to
to
look at other policies and
Isn't
see.
the email owned by the village, since it's village, on village?
Yeah, I mean, if I email you a legal opinion, I mean, that's sensitive.
And it's on my phone.
Or an
Yeah.
employee.
So now if I'm like
And, like,
upgrading my phone and
or
just,
next month I resign. What do I'm just going to delete my email from Popot and be gone.
yeah, is there like a procedure that's
So we
supposed to be
should.
following
I
with
think.
that,
I think
or
for something like that, I don't know that we need to surrender our old phones and have like a SWAT team come into Apple, but I think we should have some kind of language as far as what we are obligated to do as
to make sure there's like a
officers
third party present when the data, to verify that the data's been like removed from a device type of thing?
well, where are you going to do that? You're going to get a letter from
Or you
Apple?
come to Village Hall and have somebody else, like, have the village clerk with you when you wipe the data.
Yeah, but here's the thing, so when I leave the hospital, right, they turn off my email, I can't get those past emails, I can't see them, I
They-
can't send email, I can't do anything.
They turn
So
it off.
You
And
can,
once
it,
you can delete my
account is
email address.
disabled,
Yeah, you're right.
you're out.
Yeah,
So-
Yeah.
You can't lock in your password no more. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
You
that's
can't-
true.
You
Yeah.
it'll-
have access to your prior emails.
You can't,
Yeah.
No,
not in,
'cause-
not, well, the hospital doesn't, I've
it'll say
tried
you
to
can't
look for
log-
some,
it'll
and
say you
it
can't log
doesn't, you
in
can't
and
go
everything.
backwards.
But it depends on the server. A lot of servers, we don't have like a server here, right? So you're
that's
just
weird.
using a third party format. The hospital has their own
Server,
servers,
right,
and they're able to wipe stuff
so,
from their
right, lock the
servers.
server.
Yeah, that's what happened with
I'll
AAA.
find out from Nikon what they recommend.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Jeremy, yours
Yeah,
is
it's Gmail.
TBD. Jacqueline's not here, so we're going to go over hers. She did have some minor comments on code of ethics, but we'll let her do that next month when she's here. So I'm not gonna go through it because she had a couple of questions and I can't read some of her handwriting stuff. Let's let her do that. Darlene, did you have one?
Yeah, I had a continuity of operations plan, so when there's like a natural disaster. So most of the stuff that I had was just grammatical, okay? And
No shock.
no, right, and then, which actually it wasn't bad at all, actually. And then there were some duplicates, like the same paragraph was written twice. So I
Okay.
just crossed those out, so I'm just gonna give you that is. And then for the one thing is, and I'm just interested to see, do we really do this? Okay, is that we have a backup system through a RAID, RAID. That's it, it says.
That's isn't that an old technology as far as backup systems?
I don't know. That's
where
why
you
I'm
would
asking.
have-
It says
where you-
Microsoft
'cause
SPS
that's
2011
pre-cloud.
Essential Server automatically backs up all
Yeah,
data stored on the
I've
user
never
computers. I'm like,
heard.
Yeah, but that's an old system.
I mean,
Now we
as of
do
now,
everything.
We have apps back this up every, every
It's
night,
backed
yeah.
up to a cloud now.
oh, it says
RAID
that.
is
It's
like
gonna say in addition to the RAID drive array, all data is backed up off-site using a cloud-based backup solution incorporating Amazon's S3 data storage. So it's Amazon backup, right? Cloud.
No, is that what it is?
Axe, I don't know what they use.
They're probably using Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then meeting minutes and financial data are regularly backed up.
Yes,
Those are,
Right.
that's,
for sure.
yeah,
So maybe that they are still doing that.
the raid. So
I mean, I
let's
can ask Axe.
let's ask Axe
tomorrow.
about the raid and see if that still belongs there. Otherwise, we could just make your type edits.
And then you take out the terminology specifying the cloud service being used.
I would definitely take that out because I don't want people to know what that is.
Yeah,
Take
you
out the
don't
name
Incorporating
Amazon.
Amazon's S3 data storage.
Yeah, we
that-
don't-
That last part.
So just put using a cloud-based backup
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would probably ask Axe or whatever it is for a hard backup,
Yeah, they have a policy, I'm sure.
separate from the cloud.
I'll
Yeah.
work back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is what with the raid array.
Which was the
probably-
raid, that's what the raid would be. If maybe we have one.
Because
Yeah, we may.
the fire district we lost, we had a contract with somebody with cloud and they disappeared. We lost everything. We called them up and they didn't know where it was, basically.
That's scary. Okay, so let's look into that with Axe. All right, so that's village policy. All right. Thanks, everybody.
7 o'clock. You done?
We're gonna fire through the next one.
I got it.
So the new picnic table for yeah, we are. The new picnic table for California Park. I had the numbers wrong. They gave me a quote for a bench, not a picnic table. So the numbers that we approved last month need to be corrected. 2 picnic tables. The total is $3,579.98. The last one was in the 2,000 range, right? Last. Yeah. So
Like
it's about $1,500 more. We do have the budget. It's in our budget, and I'd still like to get 2 new picnic tables. We still need 2 new picnic tables, but my price was incorrect. So I need to ask the board if they're okay with spending a bit more. Yeah? Okay, see, I told you that one was going to go quickly. All right. Okay. Property maintenance law.
It's like a year.
Okay. But we can do this kind of quickly. For instance,
She's so optimistic.
I'm so optimistic. For instance, everything in the red is I had passed what our work to date along to Frank as far as code enforcement to take a look at it. And a lot of his comments are that some of the items on property maintenance really belong in zoning or building, and they don't constitute their own section. However, I went over this with Joe, and what we need to do is if the items that we're talking about also appear in another section, we just have to make sure that they marry up with one another, and we can still keep it in property maintenance. So that's most of this. As far as management of debris and refuse on resident property. So Tina, we left off, most of this is where we left off, but there was a couple of to-do lists. Tina will contact neighboring villages to see if there are any leaf cleanup. There are not, and I've contacted multiple neighboring villages, Port Jeff, Belterre, Oldfield, Head of the Harbor. I've gotten the same answer, and code also has kind of iterated this. It's going to be really hard. First, there's 2 things. Thing 1 is that people can push back and say, I'm composting. This is my way of maintaining my yard. This is fertilizer in the future, and they can substantiate that. Secondly, it's very difficult to discern whose leaves belong to who, and that's the bigger problem. Is if your grass is growing, it's clearly your grass. Someone's leaf is going to wind up in someone's yard, and they're going to say, I clean my leaves. This is all my neighbor's leaves. They're not cleaning theirs. And hands down, the other mayors that I spoke to all said there's no enforcing it. So we can put it in, if I feel like if it's not enforceable, there's no point in putting it in.
I think you put it in to make a good suggestion. So
But
people
these
have
are, but this
suggestion
is a,
of your, you know,
At the end of the day, if
property
something's
should
on
be-
your lawn, if it's a leaf that's on your lawn, it's now on
It's
your
yours.
property. It's yours. I mean, who cares if it fell from somebody else's tree? If the garbage is on your,
Right.
if somebody's garbage bag
but leaves
flew
the,
onto your lawn,
Your
it's your garbage
responsibility.
now.
And
But-
again, we might enforce the whole lease thing, but, or he might not want to enforce the lease thing, which is fine, but there should be some suggestion that your property should be free of debris and, like, so people have at least
it
a
should be,
suggestion of
but
that.
I don't know that, I think we're writing a law, we're not making a suggestion. If we want to do a flyer with suggestions, that's one thing, but to put it, I mean, we can put a suggestion in a law, but it's not going to be a law,
Is
right?
it just the leaf that you worry about? Or what happens if garbage is?
No, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about garbage. I am strictly the conversation was about requiring residents to clean the leaves off of their property. I'm not trying to revisit this. Garbage, we went through it.
Okay.
We're in a good place.
Okay.
I think the leaves
Yeah.
are I would love to make them do it, but if we can't really enforce it and it's going to be problematic, I think we shouldn't put a suggestion in the law. We should have a law in the law. Yeah, Joe, any?
Yeah, yes, I mean, I just think the word really should be debris, you know, free of, clean and free of debris, and then if somebody ends up with like a foot of leaves, that's not clean, you know, so.
So
We're not gonna be the leaf police going around counting leaves, but on the other hand, if somebody's property is not kept, you know, then you can write it.
That's
down.
perfect.
there could be. So
But
leave.
don't say remove leaves, just say clean and free of debris.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
And do leaves.
materials, whatever we wanna say, but.
The I had gone in. Do I have it here? I don't have it on this one. Hang on. I did have a couple of things on how other villages. Give me one sec. Some other definitions where if we want to keep it, some alternate.
Dave, you don't want to count people's leaves on their lawn? No.
So they there was a couple of other villages that had different definitions. One was they had it under the umbrella of yard waste, which included leaves, brush, grass, and they were kind of in the following major components: grass, organic, yard cleanup material, leaves, brush, branches, thatch, tangled brush, piles, vines. I don't know if we need to go that thing, but if you say yard waste, they were kind of lumping it instead of debris. They were doing another definition, which
Yeah,
was
no, that's
yard
good.
waste.
Is good,
I like yard waste.
Yeah,
I like
right?
that, yep.
So I think if we do yard
You
waste,
have weeding,
it-
you have grass cuttings, you have.
and then if it's an excessive amount of
branches.
yard waste, which could also be dead trees, it could be
Right.
just generally it's, so I think if we add yard waste
like that.
and remove leaves, we've got a little bit of an umbrella.
Yep.
Okay.
I like that.
Better.
Yep.
Definitely.
Management, okay, we can skip the 45 days. I got the feedback. The next one is Frank's feedback. Okay. Tents, canopies, carports.
Oh, our favorite.
Okay, but Jeremy brought up a good point. Jeremy, what was your point? Because I forgot it.
That's
but
okay.
It was good.
I said my suggestion was that we basically kind of bring it down to doing
Front
not
yard.
allowing any temporary structures in front of property.
And then we're covered
Leave
for
around
whatever
the
it
back of
is.
property, because you don't want to start dealing with people's cabanas and summer tents.
Well,
and
sometimes
things
if
in
it's
their
a carport,
backyard.
if you put in a car under it.
Well, no, but
if you put a table with some chairs under it, it's
No,
a
I'm
cabana.
saying, no, but I'm saying, it's.
So no-
And this way we don't have, and it's also enforceability, right? We don't want code like looking over into people's backyards and dealing with people putting,
So we can
cabanas and stuff
define
in their
it, but if
backyard.
we
So
make
it's
it a backyard and nothing on the front yard, it
yeah,
covers
just
everything.
No temporary structures on the front of property.
Okay, suggest it's front and sides.
Front and side. Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Front and side.
And then we don't have to redefine it. Then defining it as tents, canopies, and carports is sufficient, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's.
Okay, well, wait, I have another
Go ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
So
I have lollipops and
there's, does the backyard has to be fenced in? Because you have the house that's on Chestnut and their backyard is really on Maple. They have a carport on Maple, which is technically in their backyard, but when you walk up Maple, it's right on the street. You know
If
what
they're
I'm talking
parking,
about?
if they're parking,
They're parking in it.
then
Well, not
it's.
in it, they're not parking in it. There's one they're
It's
parking
crap.
in and one they're not parking.
But then it's a rear driveway.
That's not what he said, front yard only, so again, now.
But
we're
then they
talking
don't
about
have,
a
if their, I would think that if their house is an island between two roads, they don't have a backyard.
We'd have to define that.
Everybody has a backyard.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? She's saying that there's a house on Chestnut
You can.
that has, that the back of their house,
It's on
It's
Maple.
on
back,
Maple.
yeah, and there are those houses. There's
Yeah.
houses.
It's the area behind the, I'm sorry, excuse me, it's the area behind the rear line, the rear line of the house.
Same thing
So
on
that's
Washington, you have the people on Washington, and there's their front lawn, but then their backyard is really where they're driving into.
Right.
Right, and,
Okay.
right, and so is that considered their backyard, because you can see, it's not fenced in or anything, so it looks that that's what they're driving into to get into their house.
But if they're
Because
driving
they're-
into it, they've established a driveway, so then it's a rear driveway. It's no longer a backyard.
Yeah, my driveway goes to the rear of my house. I park behind my house. It's
No,
just
I know
the
that,
way-
but that you're defining it as.
But if
no
we're saying
structure in
front
the
and
front of
side,
their house,
what
inside
she's
their
saying
house.
is,
Now they're
we're
saying,
saying
well, it's my
front and
backyard.
side. They're saying it's my backyard. Why do you care?
I'm not sure the question, but the front of the house is the part that's near the street.
Right, but now,
Yeah, so
and
they
this
have
is a
backyard that's on the
situation,
street too. They
Right.
have a backyard
They have
that's
a
on.
back, yeah,
that
but
they're
they
parking.
built their house, they originally built their house so that one side would be the front side.
Right. but
Right,
their
the
back
backyard
side,
has the
Tents.
temporary structures, one that has a car in it and one that has junk in it.
So you don't wanna see it from the back side.
No, because when you're going up Maple, it's right there, it's like right on
it's
the
on the
street.
front,
Right on the
but I
street.
mean, that's an anomaly. I mean, I
But that's the one,
understand,
that's
but
why we
that's,
wrote this law originally, and then the guy on
no,
Washington put pop-up tent.
it's not. There's
It is,
more
no,
the
that's what Dee
houses.
and I talked about. That's why we did those two.
Well,
It
what
was
do
for
we
those
do in
two.
that
But you
scenario?
also have the same, I mean, the people on Washington.
So we have to,
What happens if they sell their house to someone that's
So-
not, now you,
so we have to eliminate carports can have to be completely banned,
Yeah.
right? Carports have to be banned, period. But you're not going to have a carport. Carports aren't done, no carports,
Well,
right?
no, we could have a carport if it's permitted. I mean, this is
it's
different.
a structure.
Right,
garage.
carports can be.
A temporary carport is not permitted, period. And then canopies and this and that are permitted only in backyards, non-visible from the street.
Yeah, right, and what I would say for purposes of this law, any side of the property that is, abuts a street is considered a front yard.
Okay.
No, that's it, that's
Okay.
defined our
Any,
Yeah, because we gotta be careful with the temporary, because this is the issue. The people on Washington
you're
bolted
right.
it onto the
Right,
concrete,
okay, so
and
what
that's
was
not
that, Joe?
temporary.
Any,
For purposes of this section,
Right.
any side of the property that abuts a street, is considered a front yard.
that's perfect.
So
Yeah.
these people have two front yards.
But they do.
Yes, but they
Just for
do.
purposes.
Yeah, I'm
of
just
this.
asking.
That abuts the street is a front yard. Okay, so that's good. See how we're flying through this?
Oh my God,
Okay.
I'm getting greater.
I have to be at work at 8:00.
Guidelines for boats and trailers. This is, Jeremy had emailed us about the blocks and stands, that there's no marina that wants the liability. I also spoke to my insurance broker and said that this would be more of a, he agreed that this is more of a homeowner's issue.
Yeah.
So we're striking that
Okay.
out of it.
Okay.
And that's it, because the other ones that we spoke about, topics ready for legal, Frank did say that the vehicle parking was too complicated and that we can simplify it by just saying no vehicles can be parked on lawns, period. And that's it. And they don't have to divine it. And then if they have their car parked on a lawn and that is their driveway, they are the exception and we will deal with them on a one-to-one basis. Okay, so we're gonna just say no cars.
So people can have multiple
Does that
driveways?
work?
Can you have
I
multiple
would
driveways?
say, no cars shall be parked in an area that is not designated as a driveway.
Can a house have multiple driveways on each
Yeah.
side of the
Yeah.
house?
I
Yes.
do. I have two.
He does, she does, and so does he.
Well, you're supposed to ask the trustees for the permission for that.
So for instance, at the end of this block, we have people who have parked their cars in multiple spots.
Because
Is that-
if you do it by lawn, then they're just gonna say it's not a lawn.
No cars parked in.
Any area
In-
other than the area designated as a driveway.
Okay. That's
So
perfect.
you can't cement your entire front lawn and call it a driveway.
As designated by the village.
As a
You
driveway.
gotta get a permit to an variance.
As long as you
put it in
pay twice.
the driveway and then double your-
Okay.
You're in.
So now that we're here and we've gotten this nitty gritty, I'm gonna now hand it over to Joe and we are going to see what it looks like as a law.
Perfect.
Okay? That's done. All right.
Well, let's take that one president, then we'll-
Okay.
2025.
Drain-
My turn, Brett.
Okay.
Drain cleaning. So
It's
just
on the back of your colleague.
So just to get everybody up to speed, John wasn't here. There is drainage issues on the end of Shen. 5 Shen, there's water running. He is on a hill, but there's two things happening. His driveway runs downhill, but the street runs downhill, and in front of his house are two drains that are not draining properly. They are remaining full. We've assessed them several times. I requested a mark out to see where we could put more drainage if that becomes necessary. At this point, I think we need to try to clear the drains first before we start looking at putting in additional dry wells.
Right.
If we clear it, and it's all the water's no longer running down and it's just going down his driveway, then we'll advise the resident what he needs to do on his property. But so we do have to do some emergency drain cleaning that was outside of what we did in the spring. So
Is that why it's not draining because the drain's backed up, or is it just not sufficient drainage?
We don't know.
Application?
We don't know.
Was the drain cleaned in the spring?
No, it wasn't, but it wasn't an issue in the spring. So
Okay, so it wasn't an issue before that, so potentially it really just.
potentially we clear it out, get the sediment, and it might solve the problem, or it might not. But let's do the cheaper version first.
Are we paying for this, or do we have subsidies or chips or other money?
I don't think they cover drain cleaning.
Chips does.
They do. Drain repair. They
Yeah,
don't
not
cover
really.
cleaning. We are paying for
So we're
this.
paying for
What's chips?
Consolidated Highway Improvement Program. I'm sorry, excuse me. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. You got it.
You had it. Come on, Joe.
Yeah, you had it.
You had it. Finish it up.
When you make capital improvements on a road, you can apply for reimbursement. And theoretically, you get reimbursed, but you get a percentage of. Actually, they give you back a percentage.
So the cleaning isn't covering the chips, but the potential to drop another drain potentially.
Yes.
could.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, we do have to lay the money out, and it reduces our chips budget. So I wouldn't want to just throw a drain in. I think we have to do the drain cleaning first.
Yeah, no, I agree. Last year we used Eastern,
Yes.
so their price came in a little higher than, huh?
Well, that's one thing, Joe. It is prevailing wage for drain cleaning.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's Eastern did not fare well with their last estimate with us because I think that they underbid it. So unfortunately, these are legitimate numbers. And next year our drain cleaning is going to be significantly more.
Definitely. Have we ever used Parkline?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it's two drains. I don't know what
Right. You really screw that up, you should screw them out, I mean, really.
So
So we're
I
going
guess
with
you have to go to Parkland. Right? I mean,
I think we
it's the
should
Let's
go-
try it, let's
It's the
try
lowest
it.
price.
Let's try
Yeah,
it.
do it. But
Yeah,
we don't
I
have a
agree.
choice. It's the lowest bid.
Yeah, let's do that, and we can schedule to have that done.
Is this this is per drain?
For the 2 drains.
It's per day. Essentially, the quotes are like this. These quotes are for both drains for the one day
Oh,
and
But-
one load.
But the prices do fluctuate slightly because it depends how much they have to clear out.
Yeah, how much is
And they should be able to do more than 2
Yeah.
drains in one day.
What's that?
How much
They were
is
doing
the
6
drain?
and 7.
If the drain is 12 feet deep and it's full of sand, it's gonna take more than one load to pull that
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I did include the
So we
additional.
don't know how big they are, so how they give you the price on what's in it.
They estimate. They give you.
They give you
amount
they give
per load to take out.
yeah per load to take out, and then
I will tell you that when we did it last year or earlier this year, I don't know, we had maybe half a dozen or more drains. They were doing 6 to 8 drains a day, and we had what, maybe 15, 20 drains
yeah
that they did altogether. So
they got a lot done.
they
I
should
think
do 2 drains. Should not be a whole day.
I think timing wise it'll be fine. I think we'll have to just see what the differential is, but I think we should let's award it and let's let them do that.
This might be a silly question, but are they all calculating load as the same? When they say load, it's a full vehicle. Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they all
Yeah.
like relatively the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
volume?
That's a
Okay.
Yes,
different-
yeah.
Half a ton.
Yeah, yeah.
If that
I go to
problem
the same
persists,
thing,
you
I'm
can
like,
use a
it's always
basin
given a
board to
half.
dig it out.
And like it's so
They
low
have
because
like a
we're
little
gonna build
crane
a
that goes
pipeline.
in there.
Right.
What is it?
You can use what they call a basin boss instead of a back truck. You take the cover off and you drop the crane down. It's a little crane. It goes in there and takes out the bottom.
Who does
So it
that?
gives you it'll give you fresh sand or whatever's at the bottom, get rid of the sediment, so the water will drain out. You just don't want to over dig it because then it will settle.
Huh. Who do I? But it would be the same company.
I don't know. I don't know if they have it or
Yes.
Do you have, Dave? I don't have a basin thing in my house. Do you have one I can borrow?
not. A basin boss.
A basin boss? Yeah. Do you have one of
I
those?
don't have one.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, or they aerate it sometimes, right, to let the drain. So like
Well,
septic.
they have the back truck, which has a high pressure hose on it, which is like when they clean your cesspool or whatever,
Yep.
they aerate the bottom of it, wash the stuff off the walls,
Yep,
and
that
then
helps.
they suck that all out. Sometimes that works and it's great, and sometimes
Yeah.
the sediment just
For
gets
some reason,
plugged up.
Sure.
the camera just died. It's got. Hold on. Hang on. Let me see if I can get this. I got it.
Are those drains piped anywhere, or they're just?
Where they
It's
go?
been off for about at least half an hour, more than
Just
that.
dry wells. It's a dry well. That's all it is.
No, is it go to, it goes to a dry well?
It's a dry well. That's all it is. We have
I
no sewers.
seem to have
So it
lost.
could be pumped to like maybe a stone. It could be piped to a stone hole. I don't know. I don't know what's.
Not on
Right, I was wondering
Shen.
that too. Like,
Only
where will
on.
it go?
I think only on White Pine it happens.
It just flashed on for a moment and then went off, Tina.
Ron, I don't know, I'm hearing you speaking. I'm having some issues with this.
Oh, no, I get the sense.
I've got the recording going, but it looks like the, camera has.
Who cares?
I think they can hear us. Ron, have you been able to hear us?
Yeah, yes, you went off for a moment, but yes, I can hear you
Okay.
fine now.
All right,
It's
we'll
still
just
no
keep
picture.
going with the
What are we on,
audio.
number 2? No.
All right, so here's resident requests. Resident requests. So last month, I don't remember the woman's, I don't have her email. I don't remember her name. She was John Thayer's niece, a former trustee, Jennifer Chernicki. Okay, so she's the one who.
It's not Kim Thayer's family.
Yes, it's Kim. It's Kim's cousin.
Yeah.
It's John Thayer's niece.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So she had presented us with the request that we do something to memorialize John as was promised by a previous mayor. So we did some digging, and we found the minutes, and we found the going back to 1991. Now, in the minutes, it reads, Mayor Plank made a motion that the Village of Poquat name the park of land around Village Hall Trustees Park in honor of John Thayer. The motion was seconded. So it's here if you want to read it. And then in the newsletter, it said at the last trustees meeting, a resolution was passed forever naming the park at Village Hall Trustees Memorial Park, dedicated in honor of John. So the question is, they requested to have a plaque somewhere in Trustees Park.
Something showing that,
So
It sounds like the motion did carry out. We named it Trustees Park.
we named it Trustees Park, but they are unhappy because it does not have a reference to John as stated in the handwritten portion
Does John
of the minutes.
have a little thing on the plaque outside?
Like we all do,
Like
all
we
the
all do?
trustees.
oh, when you walk in, yeah.
So all the trustees have that. Seems like they did what was carried out there.
Yeah.
But not here. What's the difference between these two documents? Then?
One's a newsletter,
Oh.
and one is
The
one.
official minutes.
One is
One
the
is the
official
official
minutes.
The newsletter said something a little slightly different.
Right. So the newsletter, I think we can nix
Yeah,
because
so
and to be honest, just to be on the record, I want to know, Joe, if a mayor is if I name my street Chiaffi Street and I write that's got to stay that way forever, can the next mayor come in and say no, it doesn't?
Yes.
Okay. So
Kind of like New
Nothing
York
forever.
City mayor.
So the
Put all bridges
impropriety,
at the somewhere. The
so
next one came in and said, "No,
just I just want that to be clear that a mayor or a board saying this is in perpetuity, isn't that the right word?
it's not.
It doesn't,
Right.
it's not, it doesn't, that mayor was not in his right to say forever. So it's presented to us now. My feeling is that if I do not want another sign. I do not want to. Let me see this. I do not want another. I do not want another sign because we just redid the signs, and this isn't a. There's not a huge group of people who want to do this, and this dates back to 1991. That being said, I don't have a problem. I personally don't have a problem with this family having a small plaque that the board approves that says Trustees Park in honor of John and all trustees. If it's written exactly as the minutes were, I don't know.
So my opinion
So many
is.
He
choices.
died.
if you
He
do not-
died while he was trustee, so that was why they did this.
So I think you start naming things after people and we have big problems. Because again, I want Chestnut Avenue to be Darling Musica Lane.
Mhm.
Okay? You start this thing where now everybody wants something named after them in the village because the village is sacred to them and they grew up here and their kids were here and everything else. Okay? I think you're opening up Pandora's box. You want something with your name on it,
Buy a plaque.
buy a bench,
Buy a bench.
put it in Trustees Park,
Yep.
put his name on it.
I agree. That's why we're doing the.
That's
the
why we're
benches.
doing it, because everybody wants something, everybody loves Poquat Village, everybody loves it here. And everybody wants to have their name and their legacy to carry on here with their families.
And you can do it now with the benches.
And you can do that with the benches, that's why we did it, because there's a line full of people that want their names on
I'm
things.
just gonna play devil's advocate here and say how many other people are mentioned in the minutes of the parking dedicated to their name by a mayor.
Yep, I feel that way too. This is
I
not.
understand your point.
The
You
name
wanna-
wasn't. It's just that it was.
But,
No,
Trustees Park.
it's in the minutes. I mean, the minutes
Right,
and
like I completely agree.
But the
with your
minutes
point.
don't say that
Just
his name should be
throwing
on it.
this out there.
The minutes say it should be named Trustees Park.
Mayor Plank made a motion that the Village of Poquat name the land around Village Hall Trustees Park
Right.
in honor of John Thayer, and it
They
said
did, so
all
they
trustees.
named it Trustees Park.
I know.
That's it. It's not saying, it doesn't say his name. It's just to name it in honor of him,
Okay.
call it Trustees
Trustees
Park,
Park.
and they did.
That's right. That's
Sure.
what they
They
did.
didn't say call it John Thayer's Park. They said call it Trustees Park. They honored him. That's what they did.
Mhm.
If they want a special plaque, then put it on the bench, like we give everybody the opportunity.
Right. It's in honor of him. We named it Trustees Park. That's what we did.
But they want that noted.
I
They
know what
wanted-
they want. I'm saying that's not what it says.
That's not what the minutes say.
And again, I think you're opening a Pandora's box of a bunch of people that have had their whole families grow up here, generations and generations, that are going to say, well, you know what, my grandmother and my great great grandmother and my great 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 grandmother did
A
this.
fish bake or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree.
you know, who built Village Hall? We're going to name Village Hall after the mayor that built it?
Okay.
I think at some point you have to say, this is the opportunity to name it after someone, and
Yeah, I mean, every mayor and every trustee gets their name on the plaque here.
mhm.
I agree, darling.
Okay, so even if they wanted to put a little plaque on a rock, the answer is no.
They could put it on the bench, like
Put it
you know
on the
everybody
bench.
else can.
Pay it like everybody else, because I'll line Chestnut Avenue with rocks with things on it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's crazy.
Okay.
I agree.
Jeremy?
I don't feel as strongly about it. I mean,
I don't feel
I
as
mean,
strongly either. Unfortunately,
like,
there's not a
against it. I
fifth
think,
person.
I don't know I mean, I will offer up that I'm the newest here, so my understanding of everybody's history and topic are not as deep as everyone here. But I'm just looking at it as a mayor
Okay, so,
name this person, and I don't think it would be. I understand what we're saying if I'm not opening up to everybody naming everything after them and their families, and I agree you get on a slippery slope, but
but
I
what
think
is
when
the
you have-
slippery, for that argument, what's the slippery slope? Because they
I
have
think
to
the
ask
Darlene's point
permission.
that everybody, yeah, that you're constantly fielding questions and people being angry or.
Because Mayor's Park is now Joe
Because-
Newfield's Park.
Right,
Yeah.
which was a mayor made that decision, and it was a dedication, and it was, I think the problem is that.
He also gave, how many years of service? 45 years
Well,
of service.
this,
Not sure if you can hear me, but I've lost audio on you. I can't hear you and I cannot see you. So I'm not sure what's going on.
hi, are you there? Ron?
Yes, and I can hear you.
I don't know, we're having a little, thanks, sir, when you lose audio, start screaming and we'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I guess the reality of the situation is, right, it was named
The way they wanted.
but now they're getting to a point where new generations have come in and they want to make sure that sentiment that was given
Behind it.
is being carried on.
But it hasn't changed.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Trustees Park, and even Mayor's Park, right, was named after all the mayors and all the trustees, because everybody gives their time and effort, and who's to say who does it better and who doesn't, right? So, the thing is that now you've encompassed everyone, and now you're saying you're carving people out to say, one trustee, and I don't know how long this person was, but do we say Barbara Donovan was mayor for 13 years, and maybe she should have a park named after her? You can't have, every mayor can't have a park, and every trustee can't have a park, so it has to be, right, an inclusive thing, and that's why it was Trustees Park for every trustee.
Back 30 years ago, they knew that. They didn't want to change it and say John's Trustee Park.
as a trustee.
I guess we will advise them that if they want to purchase a bench, they can purchase a
And they can
bench.
put it in trustees' park if that's their heart is close to that. Because, right, because that wasn't even.
And they can write anything they want on that.
They can write whatever they
Because
want.
I would have restricted it to just read exactly what the minutes said.
Well, everyone on board.
Okay, all right, that's, I guess, consensus on that. Speed limit changes, Joe gave us you sent it to us, right?
Yeah, so I think I sent it to you, I didn't send it to everybody, I'm sorry.
Did we print it?
Yeah, you guys all have the speeding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in our packet.
Right after the question.
So I think before, it looks like, looking back at the law, that chapter, it looks like before 2017, we did not have what's called an area speed limit. So in other words, we had 30 miles an hour posted throughout the village, but we may not have had a law that actually said that it's 30 miles an hour. So in 2017, we adopted an area speed limit of 30 miles an hour. There's one section of our code that says that, just in one line. So what the proposal is to change that to 25 miles an hour. So, if it's 30, people go 60, so if it's 25, hopefully they'll go 30.
Sure.
And, so the village would have an area, what's called an area speed limit of 25. You can, the significance of that is that you can post it at the entrances to the village, the two or three entrances, and then you don't have to post it on all the roads in the village. You can just say, area speed limit 25 miles an hour, and it's enforceable.
Like Fort Jeff says.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so if we're all on board with this,
We
then.
don't need a public hearing.
Yeah, no,
We need a
we're
public
gonna
hearing.
schedule a public hearing
Like the
for this.
resolution.
We'll do it in the next month.
Did we do that last time?
No, we discussed it, but we never scheduled it. Because I like.
Good try.
Okay, when the revised vehicle repair costs, this one was not a typo on my end. This was not me getting the wrong estimate. This was actually, there was more work, more damage, and our bill is up around, you had raised it to just be covered, but we went over. So, our number is 5,250
Wow.
now. Yeah, well, that's what we're gonna approve, right? I think our actual number might be lower.
Yeah, it's a little lower.
It's a little lower, but then we still have to get the inspection and a new battery,
Exactly.
so it's gonna fall into that.
I mean,
It's
the
gonna,
actual repairs are fine down.
yeah, so we're just doing another buffer, but unfortunately, they've got the car, we've gotta get it back, there was a lot more damage, this is what it is.
This was damaged.
But what happened was, the piece that they were replacing fused to, and Frank wants to kill me because I don't know what it fused to and I didn't have the right answers, but basically when they went to take this piece out to replace it, this piece adjacent went with it. They were like,
So it's not covered by warranty, that's what.
no, we're not under warranty. That's something that we have to think about in the future. Right, how old's that car?
16?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was much newer, I'm sorry.
No, it's not the new one, it's the old
Okay,
one.
I'm sorry.
16 or
So,
17?
yeah, but I mean, it's something that we should think about is keeping the cars, because they get a lot of wear and tear, and to actually keep them, and Frank has made that recommendation, and something we should think about going forward as we buy new cars, that we cycle them, because now here we are, $5,000. That's a huge thing, and the car's still not gonna be a new car. So it's just, they get a lot of wear and tear because they're never going to the right speed limit. They're always just circling around. It's not good for them. So,
How many cars do we have?
two. Yeah. So that's that. Local law edits. I think you sent me exemptions to solicitation, but not
I
resident
missed the other
district use.
one, I'm sorry, I apologize.
But that's okay.
So I'll have it for the next
So
time.
the resident district use, we're gonna look at next time. The exemptions to solicitation, I will be honest, I didn't get a chance to read it. My big thing was that there was just that one section. Did the rest of it have to change?
No, we just changed that section.
Okay, so,
So we'll do it for the next one.
did everybody else get a chance to read it? The
There is a
exemption?
copy in front of you.
Okay,
So what I did,
Second page
this
in
was
the
a,
middle, upside
this
down
was
person.
God,
this was a suggestion that I had, a little bit different than we talked about. So you wanted me to remove the exemption from the local law for
yeah.
group, so every group needs a solicitation
Mm-hmm.
permit. So what I did was, we have a paragraph on exemptions. What I did was I made, this is just my suggestion, that the exemption applies to the fee only for not-for-profit
Oh, great.
organizations. But not-for-profit organizations still have to
That's
get.
perfect.
Yeah, so like if the Girl Scouts want to sell cookies, they don't have to pay $25.
But they still have to apply.
But they still have to let us know who they.
And that's the only change?
Yes.
So then I think that's great.
Yep.
So I think we have to do a
Yeah.
public hearing on that. So we can add that one
Yeah,
too, because that's the only change, I think
That was the only
perfect.
change.
What happens when we solicitate for votes
No,
What about the
during
PTA?
elections?
walking door to door, no, that's protected, you can't regulate, I don't think you can regulate that, political activity.
Well, and
Well,
we
with
don't,
those political organizations, and you know, that we wrote as an exemption. They don't need to pay, but
don't need
I'll
to.
have to take a look at that, hopefully I didn't,
Well,
we don't need-
political organization is not is it a candidate, a person,
No,
an individual soliciting for?
the organization is a
School board,
Republican,
could be
school board,
anything.
right? Any politics.
Or
Local
vote for
or
the president or whatever it is.
So Joe, can you look at that and are we able to review that via email and still get it in?
Yes,
All right, so let's do that.
so we'll have a public hearing on it, and I'll take a look at that, I may have to add back in that, individual soliciting petitions are exempt or something.
Okay. Yeah, okay, great.
Thanks.
Policy reviews, I have already did that. Okay, then the only other thing, meeting schedule revisions. Okay, so since we are doing we've got property maintenance, we've got a number of laws that we're doing public hearings for, et cetera, and we're looking at policies. I feel like maybe it would be advantageous to have meetings where Frank can chime in on code. For instance, the speed limit, we could have kind of expedited that. If he were here, he would have been able to impart in the moment. So he's here on Mondays. So I think the next meeting is a Monday, November 6th. I think I had put in a couple of quarterly Mondays.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah.
But I'm wondering, how does everybody feel about switching Mondays for the next 4 months and see how we see if it's, I mean, does it matter, does anybody have any objections? Is everybody able, Joe, would you be able to do Monday evening?
I think I can do first Mondays,
First Monday.
if that's when it is, yeah.
Well, we could change it
That
to
is the first
Monday.
Monday. That is the first Monday.
First Monday.
Normally it's the second.
But we can
Thursday.
make it the first Monday of the month. Can we do that for a couple of months?
Yes.
Try it on.
That's you guys.
All right. All right, that's it. Open items for the board to review with the village attorney. Joe, any open items?
So I filed there's two cases to talk about. One is the landscaper case. I filed the papers, they have not answered, we're in the process of getting default judgment. There's a couple steps you have to do to get a default judgment. They have not responded, they're aware of the lawsuit, and, I don't know what their situation is, but we will be working towards a judgment.
Okay.
When we get a judgment,
Sprinklers.
if we get a judgment, then I'll, go after, try to attach their bank account, the sheriff may seize their equipment, stuff like that.
This was still around 12 grand or so.
Yes, I think it was 12,000 that we sued for.
Yeah.
And, the other case that I have is, Barron, so, 389 Main Street, and, they were supposed to be close to a closing. I found out who the title company was, and I've spoken to them. They claim that there's something holding up the closing. They won't tell me what it is, and I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. But you are able to do to file a lis pendens on a property if there's a question about the use. You can file a lis pendens on a property. Excuse me. You can cloud the title of the property with something called a document called the lis pendens, which goes on record, and or a notice of pendency, it's called, and so you can do that in two occasions. One is if there's a question about the ownership of the property, you feel that you have a claim to the property. The second thing is you can do it if there's a question about the use of the property. So in our case, we have a question about the use of the property because the second floor is still not CO'd. And so what I did was that the board approved me starting a lawsuit and filing a notice of pendency, which I did about a month ago. And there's a little bit of a question about the action's been filed, the notice of pendency's been filed, but there's a little bit of a question about when the notice of pendency actually goes on record with the county clerk, because they're just nothing, they're really backed up and they're not filing things timely. It is filed with the court and it's filed with the county, but it's just a question of as to when it actually goes on record. However, the title company is aware of it. I told the title company that there's now a lis pendens on the property, so that should help. They keep promising me that if something is scheduled, they'll let me know, but I obviously don't trust anybody. We had I will note, since we're talking about policies, I will provide the board with policies that I've done, like general policies that I recommend, so I'll give them to you, maybe you can work them into some of the policies that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we thank you to the people that came to the training last night. I really appreciate the fact that you supported the training, because it's an investment of an evening of yours when time is precious.
I liked it.
Did you like at the end when I started talking about the one particular case with the fencing in 12 acres of property? Did anybody figure out what I was talking about?
Yeah, no, but it was a good example.
Okay.
Why?
No, I just wondered how that came across, because I
Yeah.
thought it'd be interesting.
No, it was interesting because you gave, and it was kind of like, I thought it was interesting the way that they moved it and the fencing and
I didn't let them fence in the whole, because usually
but
people.
it was, I mean, I don't know how often that comes up. It probably comes up in other villages more than, I mean, I'm sure that Fort Jeff or the larger villages learned something from that. We don't have that in our village, but it was interesting, things that you would not normally think about.
Yeah, but even if there's like 1 acre of property, there's or a half an acre, there's turtles in there and stuff like that. So So anyway, whatever. The main thing was I think that people should do a wildlife survey. It only costs $200. And if you're going to clear a piece of property, I think it's a good idea to. And the problem is that the real problem is villages don't have planning departments. So like in a town for an application to get through the town to get approved, somebody's going to say, well, you should really have a wildlife survey, and you really should tell them how to fence in the property. And then the other thing is that on that particular project, one of the things that it showed that you have to, approving a project goes beyond the approval. It really, you have to tell them like when they can do the work, and they have to have a safety person at the entrance where the trucks are coming out into the roadway and stuff like that. So, but anyway, what I was going to say was, thank you for your input. I really appreciate it. But what I was going to say was the significance of that is that everybody on your board and also the planning board and the ZBA have to get 4 hours of training every year. So you can do it online. It's not, there's no training police. You just do it yourself. It's self-teaching. There are courses. You go on the New York State Department. We talked about this once. I think the New York State Department of State website, and or the NICOM has trainings you can do. Just do something for 3 or 4 hours. And if we miss it, if people miss it, you can adopt a resolution at the end of the year waiving it for everybody, but for people that didn't do it. But it's really not a good idea to do that because
no, it's not that. I mean, especially if it's available online. That we should make an effort. It's not that.
I mean, you can do it in half-hour segments, 15-minute segments.
Yeah. And I had to do more hours for Boy Scout. For Boy Scout leader, I had to do more hours than what we did the other night. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think the last thing I'll say as far as training, there's an ICS course called ICS 100, and it's under NIMS, NIMS, ICS 100. And it's, I think as officials, you should probably take that course. It may actually be required, but I remember that, but I can't find where that requirement is. But you should, at some point, you should probably take a look at that course because it tells you what to do with like this. Like the time we had the plane crash here. I mean, that was incident command system.
I think I took it. I took 100.
Oh, you took 100. Okay.
100, 200.
Look at you,
Something
you covered your training.
because of the hospital makes us take it. Maybe take it.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little certificate, which I'm sure I can pick up myself.
Make yourself compliant.
Yeah.
So you'll be the incident
But does it matter how long when I did it? I don't think it expires, right?
I don't think it expires.
Yeah.
Dave probably knows more than me, but I don't think it expires.
All right.
Because I worked in emergency medicine.
I don't actually have my copy of everything. I came with my own little set. Can I? You might have. Oh.
Yeah, you should have it over there.
Here.
That's extra. Oh, there's my copy. Okay, thank you. All right. So I think that's it for the,
Working session?
for the first session.
You don't call it.
Can I just ask you for the public hearing for the mayor's resolution for the other one? Do I need to do 2 notices to technically separate public
Yeah.
hearings in the one?
Yeah.
7 minutes.
Okay. So I'm going to call the work session. I'm going to adjourn the work session. Or the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 7:49. Anybody need a break? Should we plow through? Plow through. Okay. So, motion to call the business session to order at 7:49. And, let's do pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I got it. All right, so announcements. The Pope Park Community Association will be hosting its Halloween event on Saturday, October 21st at Trustees Park, beginning at 4 p.m. Volunteers interested in participating in trunk or treat should email Pope Park Community Association at gmail.com. Community sprinklers and hoses will be turned off on or about October 15th, and community dock will be closed on or about November 1st. Orsted Wind Power North America has submitted an application for a 7-year lease to create accessory offices up to 4 trailers on National Grid's property in the waterfront area, almost directly in front of this stack. A printed copy of the presentation deck is available at Village Hall if any residents wish to review it in person. It's also on the website. Pope Park Community Association is coordinating a bench sponsorship program for Pope Park residents and their families. Benches are available to view at Walnut Beach and California Park and can include customizable memorial plaques. They should also contact Pope Park Community Association at gmail.com.
Do you want to add in there then for Trustees Park as well? Instead of just California Park?
No, that's where they're available to look at. Benches are available to view. That's like sample benches. Okay, so benches are available to view at Walnut Beach and California Park and will be available for placement in all the parks in the village. Good. Halloween is on a Tuesday. The village is recommending the following protocols to promote a safe and incident-free evening. Winding down trick-or-treating by 9 p.m. Homes handing out treats should leave front porch lights on for the duration of the time they wish to participate, and then turn lights off when done for the evening. That ends our announcement. Reports, public safety, Dave?
Public safety report from September 7th to October 12th. House checks, we have 3. Director patrols, we have 7. Incident reports, we had 12. Parking warnings, 4. Quality of life warnings, 4.
I've lost your audio again. This is Ron, and the audio.
I got it, Ron.
Okay.
Let's see.
What was the
Here,
thing of life? You
we're
said
back,
something
Ron.
of life?
Thanks.
Quality of life.
Quality of life.
Quality of life.
Thank you. Sorry
Is
for
that a
missing.
new one?
Nope.
No.
It's always been around. Okay, Ron, you're up. Treasurer's report. Thanks for hanging in there.
All right. Well, you guys are really marathoners here.
We get paid by the hour.
Yeah. I've sent you my email with regard to where we stand. Pardon me?
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. Um, Although the budget is negative 38,000 for year to date compared to budget actual, it's most of it is a result of timing differences. Some, I don't know what we're going to be doing about CHIPS projects, but we put that in early in the year as likely withdrawing it down, but it's turning out we haven't done the work, so hopefully we'll do the work by year end. But that's, it's in and out, so it really doesn't make any difference. Things that do make some difference are the street maintenance. And I'm waiting to see what the auditors do, whether they're going to push some of that into last year. But I haven't had that conversation with them, and I haven't seen any of their proposed adjusting entries yet. You can forget about what I had to say about the clerk and deputy clerk wages. I understand that that's partly due to retraining and training people for the new job. So the main thing now is that we have some adjusting entries that the board has to authorize with regard to monies that went missing some years ago. Some of it was detected by the state audit with regard to the Justice Court. And the numbers in total are petty cash of $150 went missing, and there were fees that were never turned over to the town, to the village rather, totaling $1,128. So the total that the village was out of pocket as a result of the issues are $1,278. And we've been going back and forth with the question of whether some of the unused court grant money that was and the amounting between $500 and $600 could possibly offset some of this. And I've been reluctant to raise this until I had some discussion, or the board had some opinion on it. I don't have the documents with regard to the original grant, so I've not been able to verify whether there are limitations on use that would prohibit this. Maybe Joe has an opinion on this. I can't. I have no basis for expressing a definitive opinion on this matter.
Okay, before Joe chimes in, I'm gonna chime in because I've already asked Paul Edelson, our justice, to do a little legwork and go back. We gave him a detailed breakdown of all the grants and to see if money needs to be repaid, if the grantors of the grant are comfortable with it being either utilized as it was intended to, because some of these grants go back to like 2000, I don't know, 11. They go back pretty far back. So he's doing some research and he is going to find out if that money can be just applied to a use per the grantor or if it can be applied to the debt. So he's going to be getting back to me on that. So Joe, do you have feedback on that?
Yes, but I prefer to express it to you in a attorney-client
Got it.
communication.
Okay, so we'll executive session that next time. So,
I think that's a good idea. My only problem is timing. If, as long as, I mean, we probably would have to extend the time of getting I think we have extended uh, the time for filing with the state, but the audit would have to wait until we approve the final numbers for the journal entries.
okay,
Unless the trustees would want to approve a number no greater than 1,278 as the amount that would be charged back to the village. Because right now we show it as a receivable, and it's not going to be a receivable. So it would be
what would
charged.
it be?
Well, portion may be, right?
It's a loss. It's a loss that would, I think, the best journal entry at this point in time would probably be uh, in keeping with trying to keep the reserve funds intact without adjusting for something like this. And the auditors may feel it can be charged to reserve funds, and we may do that. But an alternative would be to charge it against fees collected this year through the court. And so it's an either or situation that we probably could get authorized or get the auditors to offer an opinion on that.
But is there a portion that we may collect?
Then
No.
I think we should, you know what, hold on, I just lost him.
I think it's money that's due to the village from the court, and I don't know that we can write it off. I mean, it's due, the court owes the village.
Okay, so I think, why don't, not to, I see, did I lose him?
I'm
Hear
here.
me? Okay.
Yeah.
Can we find out
Yeah,
what,
we need to get a definitive answer from the court. If they're not going to pay us,
well, why don't
then we can write it. But you can't until you.
yeah, I don't
Don't
think we
know.
should make a decision until we have a definitive answer,
Agreed.
and also find out this extra money that's in the grant fund, because I think that's also, I think we're gonna have to, I think if we have to get an extension, Ron, let's get an extension and get all our information. If we need to extend it, let's try to extend it. I'd like to speak to Joe about it, and I'd like to circle back and speak to Paul and find out what he has, what he's come up with.
Okay.
Does
I
that
will,
make sense?
yes, I will talk to the auditors and discuss the issue with them. And and the short story is it's not going to be approved at this meeting. So hopefully we'll be able to do it by the next meeting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I don't know, as far as I know, the court grants are basically like the court's business and doesn't have anything to do with the village. Really, I know that we support them in those applications, but it's really, the court is making the application for those grants for what's determined to be proper court purposes like this
Right.
improvement and stuff. And I would be surprised to find out that if there's an issue with money in the court, that you could just take it from the grant.
Well, no, but let's say it's a grant that's over 10 years old, and the grantor says, "Oh, we'll keep it." If they say that and they have an extra $500 in their kitty and they owe us 1,000, I would think that the village would say, "Give us what you got," right? I would, or does that not make sense?
Well, the
I mean,
grants you use for a very specific purpose.
right. So
Like
if,
say this, like this, they had extra money. I get what you're saying.
I think you're supposed to return the money. You're supposed to, you can repurpose it.
well, but if he contacts them and they say we don't want it returned,
then you can use it for general.
you can use it to general, put it in. Let's see what I think. Let's see what these people. Let's see what he comes back with as far as what they have an overage of 500 right now, right, about 500, and they need to either return it or use it. I mean, it's possible that they're going to say, put in another ceiling fan or something. You know, we might need to use it, but let's find out what they tell him first, and then we can make our decision because it's half the money that it's
Yep.
roughly half of what they owe us, right? So I think, yeah or no?
I guess
Yes, approximately, yes.
the court owes the village the money, and whatever way they come up with it is really up to them, but they need to pay the village the money. And, I don't, if there's already been a problem with money, I don't want to like get us involved with that because.
So if he's told that he doesn't have to pay it back and he wants to, if the justice doesn't have to pay back their grant and the grantor says it's 10 years old, we don't even know what you're talking about, have a nice day, then we need a letter in writing from the grantor so that if we're going to collect it. I mean, I don't even know
what I'm saying is that whatever happened in the court is like part of this whole big problem, and we shouldn't get involved with that. We're due whatever it is, $1,200 or whatever it is, and we need to get the $1,200 to whatever way they figure out how they're going to pay it is really.
Yeah, we shouldn't get involved in how the court determines their problem.
We should be sending them letters saying we really appreciate the pay us the $1,200.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I would like to well, there's a discussion around that matter that maybe it's better if we talk about it offline.
Okay.
And in any case, we're not going to resolve it now, and I think we know we have more discussion to go on.
Okay, so we'll table this one
Okay.
for
And that's all that I had to report on.
okay, cool. Thanks, Ron.
And I'm signing off.
Oh, okay. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Jacqueline's not here for the court report. We have no public hearing. Do we have public comments? We have one caller on the line. Caller, do you have any public comments? Caller did not express any public comments. And now we're up to our resolutions. Ready?
Sure.
Resolution 10-2023-1. Resolution adopting October 12th, 2023 agenda as printed. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 10-2023-2. Resolution accepting, shouldn't it be adopting?
Adopting the monthly report.
The monthly report from October 12th.
I don't think that's
It's
right.
accepting.
It is accepting.
Yeah.
2023. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 10-2023-3, resolution adopting the minutes from the September 7th, 2023 work session of the Board of Trustees meeting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 10-2023-4, resolutions adopting the, oh, sorry.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, September 7th, 2023 business session of the Board of Trustees meeting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 10-2023-5, resolution approving the estimate from Poly Products for Newfield Park picnic tables in the amount of $3,579.98. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. This last one. So how did we end this?
We ended it.
Okay.
I think we came, we have notes. We did agree on something, so I think we can approve it based on what we discussed.
All right. So resolution 10-2023-6, resolution to approve changes in the building fees as approved by the board. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 10-2023-7, resolution approving the estimate for emergency train cleaning of Shen Court 2.
What was the name of that company?
Parkline.
Parkline.
Parkline Asphalt Maintenance Incorporated in the amount of $3,450 for a one load, 1 day, and $1,600 per additional load. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 10-2023-8, resolution approving estimate from Fort Jefferson Ford for repair of code enforcement vehicle 2024
2014.
Ford Explorer in the amount of $5,250. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 10-2023-9, resolution setting up a public hearing. Wait,
If you change it to Monday, it's not the 9th, right?
It's the 6th.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
okay, resolution setting up a public hearing at the November 6th, 2023 meeting for a proposed law changing the village speed limit from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We have to add another
Right.
one.
Yeah, where's the second one?
So we'll call it 9B.
9B.
9B, resolution,
Setting up a public hearing at the November 6th, 2023 meeting for a proposed local law revision to the
section
Solic-
13310 of
Se-
the Buffalo
section-
Village Code regarding
Solicitation.
exemptions from solicitation.
Okay, does that count that we both did that together, like in unison, or do I have to repeat it?
No, it's perfect.
It's
It
good?
makes it more
So just say so moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, so we didn't do the permit checkers a while ago?
No, we I forgot my poor permit checkers.
All right, resolution 10-2023-10, resolution approving the hiring of permit checkers from July through September 2023 for California Park. Rate of pay $10 an hour, retroactive to July 1st. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution number 10-2023-10, resolution to schedule the Village of Hopewell Board of Trustees work session meeting beginning at 6 p.m.
On November 6th.
November 6th, with the business meeting to follow immediately. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's do vouchers.
All right.
Speed read. You gotta speed read.
I'm preparing.
Next up.
Call ahead in the amount
Motion to
of,
approve.
call ahead in the amount of $330. Small Business Management Solutions in the amount of $567.97. Scova in the amount of $195. Sweezy Fuel Oil in the amount of $540.95 for a total of $1,633.92. Then we got Home Depot in the amount of $199.02. We've got Axe Creatives in the amount of $100. Reimbursement to Jessica Battani in the amount of $57.57 for petty cash. Construction Technologies for the amount of $195.15. Optimum in the amount of $135.37. PSEG in the amount of $387.74. PSEG again in the amount of $14.14. Transforming Solutions in the amount of $1,644.45. Winter Brothers Hauling of Long Island in the amount of $10,788 for a total of $13,322.42. Then we've got our First National Visa credit card. We've got Amazon for $66.68. Credit card charge for $23.35 and Web iPower charge for $89.62 for a total of $179.65. Then we've got Ace Hardware for $93.07, GMA Mechanical Corp in the amount of $732.30, Joe Pro Cop in the amount of $656.25, RS Abrams & Co. in the amount of $4,450, Time Speaking Record for the amount of $140.77, Transforming Solutions Corp in the amount of $950, and Wex Bank in the amount of $291.43 for a total of $7,313.82. Next up, we've got Canon in the amount of $129, Elite Auto in the amount of $917.38, House Cleaning Service in the amount of $360, PSEG in the amount of $619.11, PSEG in the amount of $44.21, Suffolk County Village Officials Association in the amount of $260, Suffolk County Water Authority in the amount of $2,264.10, Suffolk County Water Authority in the amount of $52.07, and Suffolk County Water Authority in the amount of $82.38 for a total of $4,728.25. Next, we've got Transforming Solutions in the amount of $1,644.45. Next, we've got Ace Hardware, $144.08. Axe Creatives for $100. Construction Technologies LLC for $195.15. Dave's Tree Service for the amount of $250. We've got New York State Insurance Fund for $2,536.63. Optima for $135.67. PSEG for the amount of $426.03. PSEG for $14.14. Small Business Management Solutions for $552.49. Verizon Wireless for $196.44. West Marine Products for $20.88. And Winter Brothers Hauling of Long Island for $10,788 for a total of $15,359.51.
Motion to adjourn the
No, you have
business.
to approve. you have to
Oh,
approve.
I gotta do the last one, right. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Resolution 10-2023-11, resolution approving all checks per the voucher report. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn at
8:13.
8:13 p.m. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Wow. One of our